Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Deaires, and today I'm going to be discussing with you all just what the basic definition of malware is. So, is there anyone here who is unaware of what malware is? Okay, so pretty much everyone has a general idea of what malware is. Well, malware, or as it's often referred to as malicious software, is an umbrella term that describes any malicious program or code that is harmful to systems. It's hostile and intrusive and intentionally nasty, and it seeks to damage, invade, or disable computers, computer systems, networks, tablets, mobile devices, and it often does that by taking partial control over a device's operations. It can kind of be viewed as kind of like the human flu. It gets in and it interferes with normal functions. Malware, the main goal of malware is, well, the most common goal is kind of to make money off of people illicitly. It goes in and tries to steal, encrypt, delete, or alter or hijack core computer functions and spy on your computer activity without knowledge or permission. And now I'm going to show what people do.
You may have heard of terms such as worms, viruses, trojans, or ransomware when people discuss cybersecurity. These are nothing more than different types of programs cyber attackers use to infect computers and devices. A common term used to describe all these different programs is the word malware. Simply put, malware is software that is used to perform malicious actions. In fact, the term malware is a combination of the words malicious and software. Cyber attackers try to install malware on your computers or mobile devices to gain control over them. Once installed, these attackers can use malware to spy on your online activities, steal your passwords and files, or use your system to attack others. For example, one type of common malware is called a keylogger. Once it infects your system, cyber attackers can use it to capture every keystroke you type, including your logins and passwords. Armed with that information, cyber attackers can then log into your accounts as you. Another example of malware is called ransomware. When ransomware infects your computer, it encrypts all of your files, including your documents, spreadsheets, and photos, locking you out and denying you access to them. The cyber attacker then demands you pay a ransom to decrypt your files to regain access to them. Even if you pay the ransom, you have no guarantee that you'll recover the files. If you don't want to pay the ransom or can't pay it, the only reliable way you can recover the files is from backups. If you do not have good backups, your data is gone. Many people have the misconception that malware is a problem only for Windows computers. While Windows is widely used and thus a big target, malware can infect any device, including Mac computers, smartphones, and tablets. In addition, many people mistakenly believe antivirus can detect and stop all malware. However, it can't. Cyber attackers are constantly developing new versions of malware that can bypass most antivirus software. This is why your security training is so important. Much of what we are teaching will help protect you from getting infected. Ultimately, your best defense against malware is common sense. If something seems odd, suspicious, or too good to be true, it may be a cyber attacker trying to infect your system.
So, most common forms of malware include adware, which is unwanted software which is designed to throw advertisements up on your screen. You have spyware, which is malware that secretly observes the computer user's activities without permission. You have viruses, which is malware that attaches to another program and when executed usually inadvertently by the user, replicates itself by modifying other computer programs and infecting them with its own bits of code. You have worms, which are a type of malware similar to viruses. They're self-replicating in order to spread to other computers over a network, usually causing harm by destroying the data and files. You have Trojans, or Trojan horse, which is one of the most dangerous malware types. It usually represents itself as something useful in order to trick you. Once it's on your system, the attackers behind the Trojan gain unauthorized access to the affected computer. You have ransomware, which is a form of malware that locks you out of your device and or encrypts your files, then forces you to pay a ransom to get them back. You have keyloggers, which is malware that records all the user's keystrokes on the keyboard, typically storing the gathered information and sending it to an attacker who is seeking sensitive information like usernames, passwords, credit card information. Malware can reveal itself in many different aberrant behaviors, but a few of the symptoms that could tell that you have a malware infection or your computer might perform slow. You get a tidal wave of annoying ads that shouldn't be there. Your system repeatedly crashes or freezes. You notice a mysterious loss of disk space. There's a weird increase in your system's internet activity. Uses of your system's resources are abnormally high and your computer span starts to speed up very fast. And similarly, links that you click send you to unwanted web destinations. The two most common ways that malware accesses your system are from the internet and email. Malware can penetrate your computer when you surf through hacked websites, click on game demos, download infected music files, install new toolbars from an unfamiliar provider, set up software from a dicey source, open a malicious email attachment, or pretty much everything else you download from the web onto a device that lacks a quality anti-malware software security application. Malicious apps can hide and seemingly legitimate applications, especially when they are downloaded from the websites or messages instead of a secure app store, such as like Google Play or the iTunes App Store. And it's important to look at the warning messages when you install applications, especially if they seek permission to access your email or other personal information. So I have a video that just basically shows how
most people don't realize when they use a computer for browsing the web or checking their email that there's a lot more going on in the background. Lots of hidden programs. For the most part, they're never seen.
Bringing up a list of these programs reveals unfamiliar names. They come and go as needed, and there can be dozens running at any given time. Some carry out simple tasks deep in the computer's operating system, hidden from view. Others are complex and obvious, the applications we see running on our screens. They all coexist, sharing the computer's memory and constantly communicating with each other, like a digital ecosystem.
Hackers or attackers take advantage of all of these hidden programs on your computer by hiding their malicious software, otherwise known as malware, in and amongst them, so that you don't even notice.
The first challenge for an attacker is to get the malware installed on the victim's computer. A common ploy is to trick users into doing it themselves.
One way hackers are able to do this is by simply sending you an email with a legitimate document inside.
Even though the document doesn't look suspicious, it actually contains malicious computer code. Liam plays the part of the victim.
So first thing in the morning, I'm going to log into my email to check if I have anything new. So I've received an email about open enrollment for my benefits, and even though I don't knows who the sender is, I'm going to open this up.
Downloading and opening the booby-trapped document generates an error message. But what the victim doesn't realize is that clicking on it also invisibly installs malware onto the computer.
Once my victim opens up that document, that secret computer code inside has started to run on his computer without him even knowing it. And it's connected back to my computer, to a program that I'm running called Nuclear Wrap.
Stealthy programs like this allow for a shocking behind-the-lines invasion, where the attacker can spy or disrupt at will.
I can even take screenshots of his computer and watch all of his keystrokes via something called a keylogger. He's logging into his email right now, and I can actually get his username and his password. Not only that, but we can also get video by turning on the webcam, and I can actually see what my victim looks like, all without him knowing.
So, how many of you all have fallen victim to malware before your system? So, okay, there's a couple of you. One of the earlier instances of malware is often referred to back to the 1980s, which we have the Elk cloner, which was written by a 15-year-old and is one of the earliest widespread self-replicating viruses to affect personal computers. It was displayed as a friendly poem on the infected system, which was, it will get on all your disks, it will infiltrate your chips. Yes, it's cloning. It decimated by infecting floppy disks. The virus itself was harmless, but it spread to all disks attached to a system, exploiting so virulently that it can be considered the first large-scale computer virus outbreak in history. And then when we get to the 90s, a Microsoft Windows platform emerged this decade, which led to malware authors to write infectious code in the macro language of Microsoft Word and other programs. These macro viruses infected documents and templates rather than executable applications. Although strictly speaking, the Word document macros are a form of executable code. And as we start to get to the 2000s, malware grew significantly, both in number and how fast the infection spread. At the start of the millennium, internet and email were making headlines across the globe. Malware scammers turned to social networks such as MySpace, Facebook, and Twitter as a channel for delivering rogue advertisements, redirects, and offers to fake antivirus and security tools. We also have primeware kits that were aimed specifically at websites, which also rose in popularity, and the number of compromised websites escalated correspondingly. Then when we start to get to 2010 to the present, we have, again, significant observation of the evolution and the sophistication of malware. Organized crime and state sponsors have upped the game dramatically with large, well-funded development teams. These malicious work groups continue to evolve today, developing advanced malware with evasion tactics that outsmart many conventional anti-malware systems. One of the many early ransomware programs, which was called CryptoLocker, has significant impact globally and helped fuel the ransomware era. We also have cryptocurrency and how to mine for it, which has captured widespread attention, leading to a new malware scam called cryptojacking, or the act of secretly using someone else's device to mine for cryptocurrency with the victim's resources. Malware criminals love the mobile market. After all, smartphones are sophisticated, complex, handheld computers. They also offer an entrance into a treasure trove of personal information, financial details, and all manner of valuable data for those seeking to make a dishonest dollar. Unfortunately, This has spawned an exponentially increasing number of malicious attempts to take advantage of smartphone vulnerabilities from adware, trojans, spyware, worms, and ransomware. And malware can find its way onto your phone in a number of ways by clicking dodgy links or downloading an unreliable app or some obvious culprits. But you can also get infected through emails, texts, and even your Bluetooth connection. Moreover, malware such as worms can spread from one infected phone to another. Mobile users are often easier to target as well, because most do not protect their phones as diligently as they do with their computer systems, failing to install security software or keep their operating systems up to date. Because of this, they are vulnerable to even primitive malware. Fortunately, there are a few unmistakable red flags that you wave at if your smartphone is infected. You may be infected if you see a sudden appearance of pop-ups with invasive advertisements, if they appear out of nowhere and send you sketchy websites, a puzzling increase in data usage, bogus charges on your bill, a disappearing battery charge, people on your contact list report to you that you strange calls and texts from your phone, a phone that heats up while performance lags, surprise apps on your screen, your phone turns on Wi-Fi and internet connections on its own. So just some tips that you might want to use to stay safe is make backups of your data. One of the best ways to protect your computer and data from malware attacks is to make regular backups. You should always create at least 2 backups, one to keep offline and one to keep online. It's also crucial to install the latest updates for Windows and other software. Companies like Microsoft and others are regularly releasing updates to patch potential vulnerabilities that can be exploited by hackers. Utilize a firewall, which a firewall is a software or hardware-based application that helps to block malicious attacks from hackers, worms, ransomware, viruses, and other types of malware trying to access your computer from the internet to steal your information. Windows Firewall is usually enabled by default, but it's important to make sure that it's working correctly. But nowadays, it's essential to have an antivirus or anti-malware installed on computers to detect and remove malware before they can compromise your data. However, it's not just about installing security software and forgetting about it. You must also keep it up to date and stay protected from the latest viruses and so on. Just some types of anti-malware software. You have Windows Defender, which is a built-in anti-malware component for Windows 8.1 and Windows 10, and it can detect, prevent, and clean up a system infected with viruses and other malware. Some people have conflicting views on Windows Defender and how good it is. If you don't have any type of third-party anti-malware software, such as Bitdefender, McAfee, Norton, Malwarebytes, then Windows Defender would be your best bet to use if you don't have third-party, just to not having any type of anti-malware software running at all on the system. So basically, in summary, in order to potentially stay away from anti-malware software, you should stay away from opening unsolicited email attachments or downloading software from untrustworthy websites, and just download from places such as the Google Play Store or the iTunes App Store. Be careful in opening suspicious email attachments. Make sure your operating system and browsers and plugins are always up to date. On your mobile phone, making sure that it's up to date. And get a good anti-malware program and have it running and keep it up to date as well. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you.